tell me the status? I called someone. I called for help, and I haven't had a response. I think it's been almost a week. Is that you normally the women that are fleeing for their life in a domestic violence crisis have to wait a whole week to get help?
Hey, ma'am, can I have your name, please?
What can I have yours?
Rachel, ma'am.
Okay, and you did not want to answer me when I said that women fleeing a domestic violence crisis for their life have to wait a whole week. Is that procedure? That was a question, ma'am.
That's not procedure, but ma'am, I would like your name so I can know how to help you first. You said you've been waiting for a week?
Yes, around a week.
Okay, can I have your name, please?
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so who are you transferring me to?
To one of our case managers.
Okay, can I know the procedure when a woman calls in fleeing for her life in a domestic violence crisis before you transfer me? Because I don't know if it'll be a voicemail.
Well, typically, our procedure is to transfer you to one of our case managers so they can help you, ma'am.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand. This is the line, you're the receptionist for what?
For our main office, ma'am.
What did I call, ma'am? You're the receptionist for what?
Mosaic Family Services. This is the main office, ma'am.
Okay, so the main office, I'm asking, do you have any information on anything before you transfer me?
I could offer you referrals to other shelters, ma'am.
Okay, is this a crisis line or the main line for outreach? What did I call?
This is the main office, ma'am. We do have a crisis line.
Okay, and all you do is just transfer? You don't have any information? Because it just doesn't make sense for all these domestic violence organizations to not call me back in weeks, days, and then it turned into years. So I'm trying to see what's going on, why women fleeing for their life would have to wait a whole week to get out their abuse and even years.
I'm so sorry that's what you're undergoing.
Okay, well, I don't want a blind transfer, ma'am. I want to speak with a live person. You don't have that for women fleeing for their life?
I can give you the number to our crisis hotline, ma'am. So you can speak to a live person.
The crisis hotline was hanging up and covering for my abuse and was disrespectful.
Okay, done. Sounds very odd, ma'am.
Yes, it does, and it's getting a text instead of someone calling back.
Okay, ma'am. Would you like me to transfer you to one of our case managers?
I don't want it to be blind. I want to make sure I speak with a live person because I'm not getting my calls returned, ma'am. Nowhere, just about. 95% of my calls have not been returned.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, that's not too much to ask for a domestic violence organization for women fleeing for their life, right?
I'm just trying to check schedules, ma'am, and it does look right now that our case managers are out to lunch. I'm sorry, I know that's not what you want to hear.
They go to lunch at, it's 1:12.
Yes, ma'am. Because some are working at different hours, so the ones that are here scheduled today, I can see she's out at lunch. So.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do the shenanigans with the crisis hotline and see if people ever get their felony charges, if it will ever happen. Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
214.
Oh, you can't transfer me? You can't transfer me?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you help women do a safety plan?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
What kind of safety plan are you looking for?
Okay, what kind of safety plan am I looking for? Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know the kind of safety plans that you have. I thought it was just one.
No, there's actually numerous safety plans.
Okay, I don't know because people don't normally do safety plans for me, so I don't know what kind, how many are offered. Would it be? Can you start by getting my information so you can see what I've been going through? I have like 20 plus arrests. Sure. My abuser controls a lot of people that he shouldn't, and abuses a lot of fat power, hacking phones, setting up assaults, pickpocketing, robberies, mistreated in jail on false charges, denied my constitutional right to go to court. So it's a lot that he has gotten away with.
Okay, so you're needing a safety plan for me to help you with all of that, or are you wanting resources?
I don't know. I would like advocacy and direction on how to combat police that are your abusers and so many people conspiring with your abuse and mistreatment.
Okay. So I can take your information down, and one of our case managers can call you back in about 1 to 3 days.
Okay, so let me make sure this is the emergency crisis hotline. And
correct.
You want me to wait more? I've already waited a week, and she texted. So I'm just trying to help people get their charges, ma'am, because no one knows, and the people don't know that you can spoof calls, that people are that crooked to counterfeit calls. But what concerns me, ma'am, if you have access to scammers and people that do things to keep you from making real calls, you're probably an identity thief. My life's been in jeopardy. So you probably are an identity thief, and you're using your techniques to rob people of their identity to torture someone that you just may have had an infatuation with and get away with it. So, ma'am, I just think that these calls have been highly unusual. I don't think women fleeing with domestic violence crisis have to wait wait weeks, months, and years to get assistance. I think, like I said, something's amiss with these calls.
Yeah, so, I mean, we are a shelter for domestic violence. Are you seeking shelter?
Yes.
Okay, so unfortunately, we do not have any availability, but I can give you the names of shelters. If it's just you by yourself, there are shelters available, and I can provide you with that information.
Okay, what's that information, ma'am? Let's see how this goes.
Okay. So are you wanting to set up case management as well? And they can help you with giving you additional resources and referrals to different places?
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand. I call Mosaic. You're full like you've been 5 years, okay? And you prove it that you're doing it on purpose. Just prove it. So you're full like you have been for 5 years, and your solution to the issue is to pass the buck and send me somewhere else to get help, like I've experienced years. So you're not offering me any other service. This is emergency crisis hotline. You have given me no safety plan, no advice or anything on how to protect myself, as I have not received years. You want to pass the buck and give me a reference to another place that is going to do the same thing like they've been doing 5+ years. At least you didn't do like the place in Texarkana and put my stuff outside after I reported my abuser in a box. I left to report him and came back, and they had my stuff outside in the box and would not tell me why they did it because I wasn't present to do anything wrong. All I did was go report my abuser, and they put me out.
Okay,
That's
so
domestic violence prevention in Texarkana.
Okay, so I apologize for that. That's not the Mosaic, but I can give
Oh,
you
no, but Mosaic has been full
that-
5 years. And then I came there, and they said that they're going to do police accompaniment. And then she backed out of it and gave me the runaround. And then they denied services. That was Mosaic. My phone's malfunctioning again.
So, yeah. I cannot control every time you've called. Unfortunately,
but this is an emergency crisis hotline, and you're not giving me a safety plan, and you're not giving me any avenues that for your assistance, you're passing the buck and trying to send me to another location.
Yes. So do you want those numbers? I have shelter that's in Round Rock that has availability for a single.
Where's Round Rock?
I believe it's about 3 hours away. It's north of Austin.
Okay. What's their number?
It's 800 6. I'm sorry. I was wrong. 800-460-7233, and that's located in Round Rock, Texas.
Okay. Is there other ones?
Yeah, I'm looking. 1 second.
Sherman?
1 or 2.
Sherman? Okay. Is there a particular reason why you're getting me out so far out? But, I mean, that's what I would need because I'm railroaded and blacklisted from services local. Is there a particular reason why you're giving me locations so far away?
Because the ones in Dallas are all full.
They're all full.
That's what I'm
okay, well,
correct.
What's the one in Sherman?
So are you wanting the number at Sherman?
Yes, that's what I just said, ma'am.
Okay. It's 903.
Okay.
893-5615.
Okay, and on the emergency crisis hotline, you don't give a safety plan. You said there were several. I told you about my experience, and then you wanted to forward me over to other locations.
So
I don't know. I have never been allowed to get a safety plan, ma'am. See, in-person security's called, and different things happen, so I can't. I've never experienced a safety plan that most women can get when they're abused. I haven't had that right. So, are you unwilling to do the safety plan?
I mean, I can do a safety plan with you. 1 second.
Okay.
I mean, do you know what the safety plan is, though?
We just went over my experience, ma'am. And you don't advocate for women? Because when I call them on the phone, they want me to do it for myself. Asking me what kind of safety plan do I want, what services do I want. That is a way to hide the fact that you're denying someone services. Because you won't tell them the services. They have to know the services on their own. I've had to endure this years. So typically an average woman that calls in and says her experience, the party on the line would advocate for them and give them the services that they know that party can use. I haven't had that right. They want me to do my own, figure out my own safety plan and direct them towards doing the safety plan, and I don't have that knowledge.
So ultimately, the safety plan has to be, everything has to come from you. So, like, the questions for a safety plan is, do you have a safe place to stay? You don't. Okay, so I just gave you 2 shelters that might have availability. I have additional shelters that I can look at to see if they might have availability that are closer to Dallas, but everything I'm looking for or at is full. So then the next question is your family. Do you have any family that you can call for support? Excuse me.
No, my family's scared to be around me and then blame me for it.
Okay. So then I can refer you to, like, if you are having like a mental crisis, I can also refer you to, if you're located in Dallas, to Metro Care, or if you're wanting counseling, or you feel like you're feeling suicidal, or you're feeling a certain way, I can refer you to different hospitals.
Okay.
So that's what basically a safety
Oh, okay.
plan is.
I'm just trying to get clarity. Okay, so on the emergency crisis hotline, you don't talk about getting the abuser any consequences or protection orders or calling the police, doing a report number. Come in here and we'll advocate for you and go to the police with police accompaniment. No, you get mental health treatment and let the nuts still terrorize you 5+ more years. So that's the safety plan. Go get mental health treatment. Ma'am, I'm already getting it. I'm still getting violated and denied services, and my phone cut off on a whim. Can't see my daughter. That hasn't changed with my mental health treatment. So I do appreciate your safety plan is telling me to go get mental health treatment and letting the abuser get away with his abuse. No safety, no protection order. Nowhere to be found that I go. They all threaten the police when we do one, or it gets lost, or something happens, or something. I'm blamed for them not doing a protection order. I thought that there's police accompaniment. Why aren't we talking about getting the abuser charges? Perhaps maybe he's controlling his call, knowing full blown well no one would ever believe it.
Okay, so if you're wanting services through us, then yes, I can take all of your information down, and a case manager will reach out.
But you didn't say anything about a protection order, ma'am, and how a party can exist with getting a protection order. You didn't say nothing about coming in and then let's go having police accompaniment since there's multiple cost of arrest.
This is a crisis line, ma'am. This is a crisis line. I can refer you to our case management program, and they're
I
the
thought
ones
that the crisis line would have been the one that knew how important it was to get that the party protected instead of trying to get a mental health treatment.
No, so it's kind of like a crisis is for housing. That's all. If we have no housing available, then we can refer you to other resources that are in Texas that can assist you. But unfortunately, our case managers, I'd have to take all of your information down, and our case managers will have to call you back and get you enrolled. They'll bring you in, ask you a few questions, see what services you're needing, and then get you, the assistance you need. But you have to be enrolled with.
Can you check and see if I am, ma'am?
Unfortunately, I don't have that information in front of me. I don't have access to the case managers because that's a different department.
Okay, so, the other day they did have it, and he said that. So you don't have you don't have in the system if I have already done the intake. You can't find that out.
I do not. No, I don't have that information.
Okay, you used to. All the years I was calling, they would tell me if they had the intake on file or not. It changed on the crisis hotline.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have that.
Don't you do intakes on the crisis line?
We do not. Because we have no availability, we have to refer out. An intake is only for individuals that we're going to accept into the shelter.
Okay, ma'am. Well, you know what? I haven't found the passcode in 5 years. I don't know what I'm going to do because obviously the answer's not on my phone and calling on my phone. It hasn't been for 5 years. So I don't know if it's just fruitless for me calling all the time, spending all this energy when I already know the end result is I'm never going to get the help like 5 years.
I can take your information down, and I can have a case manager
ma'am,
call you back.
You've already had multiple opportunities to give me services, and you guys didn't. I'm trying to interrupt the police from interfering with any help I could possibly get.
I cannot provide you with that assistance. This is a crisis line for shelter.
Right, but you didn't. You asked me if I needed mental health treatment instead of you were protecting. This is, ma'am. This is Rude again. Hello.
Yes. So what I'm trying to say.
You asked me if I had needed mental health treatment, and you said nothing about protection orders, ma'am.
Okay. Are you gonna? No, I mean, we don't help with that. I'm sorry.
You don't help with protection orders.
In our crisis, once we
you don't help with protection orders.
Management. We do not. Not from the crisis line. I can give you resources. I can get you signed up with our case managers. Our case manager is going to call you back. But again, they're the ones that can provide you with all that information.
Okay, ma'am. I don't know what I'm going to do because this is 5 years plus of this, and it's not working.
So can I take your full name?
I thought you already had it. I want them to call. I would if I have choices, I don't want them to text. Why would a woman fleeing for her life receive a text?
If they're unable to contact you, would they be able to leave a voicemail?
I can give you 2 numbers. Yeah, they can leave a voicemail, but why would a woman on the emergency crisis hotline have to get texts?
Just in case they can't reach you, they can send you a text letting you know, hey, this is your case manager, I'm trying to reach out. Can you call us back at this number?
Okay, well, I didn't get the call, I just got the text.
Okay, so what other number can you provide?
Okay, and ma'am, If you're full, you don't like. Well, I'll never mind. I just thought that if you're full, women don't have advocates or anything that place them in a safe environment. If you're full, like they call around and advocate for you, the woman has to be left on her own and find her own shelter.
So I just gave you the name of 2 shelters
You did,
that have
but
availability.
that's not what I mean. Like I came in person, and they were full.
I have to answer crisis calls, so I unfortunately cannot
It's very hard for me to
calls
get shelter, ma'am, and clarity. I'm speaking of when I was in person and had an advocate in front of me, and you were full. Why didn't she get on the line and find me a safe environment?
I can't speak for other people, ma'am.
This is Mosaic.
Yes,
Mosaic when I was in person. Is that a?
I don't know what that happened.
I'm asking a question, ma'am. If I was there in person,
I don't know.
I'm asking a question.
I cannot speak for that individual.
Can I ask the question, ma'am? When I was there in person and they were full, I did not get placed in shelter. What is the procedure if you're there in person and needing shelter to get out of your crisis that involves multiple false arrests and police?
Okay, so they'll refer you
and assaults from police
at a shelter availability, and they'll give you information on shelters that have availability.
Okay, because when this first started, they would place.
There we go. At the victim to get that information.
Well, it changed when I got in my crisis. So now each time when I first got in my crisis, they would the caseworker or the social worker would found me a place to stay. And that's when, someone interrupted and put my stuff outside when I was reporting my abuser, and they scanned, so I couldn't stay there. A car sped up like it was going to hit me. Ma'am, please, this is critical. This is critical, ma'am, for the crisis hotline.
I can't speak for the individual that you
on the crisis hotline at the family place. At the family place, the car sped up like it was going to hit me, and they put me out at that location. So it's making me think that my abuser's controlling my experience.
So that's the family place. I can't speak for other organizations.
Well, I did tell you I came to Mosaic, and they were supposed to be going to the police department with me, ma'am. I'm telling you about your organization. And they were full in person.
Another department because that's the case manager. I'm not sure who you spoke to, so I can't give you the appropriate information. All I can do is apologize and give you referrals for shelters that have availability. I also took your information down so one of our case managers can call you back to help you with additional resources that you need help with. Okay? Is there anything else?
No, that'll be it, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So you may ask yourself, what's going on with the psychological abuse and the calls? Because they're waiting for you to that reaction. When you have called days and weeks and then months and then it turns into years. So when you're mistreated like that, and then it causes you to, it causes your attitude to display the experiences that you've had. So I made all these calls and they're not calling me back. So, all I can do is just put it out there and hope and pray 5 years plus that this ends. My daughter she's a beautiful young woman. She don't deserve to be robbed of her mother for profit. Then threatened to giving the CPS because she cried because she was missed me and showed a display that how the situation made her feel. And then can't talk about being hit, robbed of even speaking with her mother occasionally. Now she can't talk to me, period, because she told the truth that she got hit. I had bruises in the past and told me that the stepmom sat on her where she couldn't breathe and hit her with a belt. So now she's probably tortured and scared to where even if at one point she did want to live with me. But now, after getting to seeing all these parties cover for her abuse, what would you do? I think that, I'm a black woman, maybe a checkered past, whatever. I don't know what is going on here, but we don't deserve this. Something needs to be done in today. If my story is true, that means that someone psycho is running the government. How does that make you feel safe? Because it certainly doesn't make me feel safe. Okay, I got 1-800-460-7233. Okay. I'm sorry, what did I call?
This is the Hope Alliance. Can I help you?
Hope Alliance?
Yes, that's right.
Is this Round Rock Crisis Center?
Yes. Can we help you with something?
Yes, I'm in a domestic violence crisis, and I don't know how you can help.
Okay, well, we can figure that out for you. I'm going to place you on a brief hold and get you connected with an advocate who can give you some information and resources, okay?
Okay, thank you.
My name is Michelle. Is now a safe time to talk?
I do.
You said yes?
Yes.
Okay. Before we begin, I do just want to make you aware of a few things. First, I want you to know that you have the right to remain anonymous. Everything you say is confidential unless you let me know the ongoing or unreported abuse and neglect to a child, an elderly person, towards somebody that has a disability, or your threat to yourself or others.
There is abuse of a child?
Yeah, that's been unreported.
I'm sorry?
Abuse towards a child, that has been unreported. I'm a mandatory reporter, so I was just saying.
Oh, well, yeah, you can report it because no one's taking my reports. It's been abuse to a child.
Okay. And would you like to provide your name today?
Yes, it's Keyana, Keyana, Clark, Clark. Okay. I have had multiple different false arrests. Police are involved in my abuse, and they come interrupt any ability I have for escaping their abuse. There's multiple false arrests. My daughter, in 2011, had bruises living with when she stayed with her stepmom. I reported it to CPS and the police. I didn't know of any, anything inappropriate going on, but they flipped it on me after I did the report to CPS. So nothing was really done. So I had moved away, and in 2018 she could talk, and her dad had health problems, so he wanted to be a part of his daughter's life, and I let him in again. And she reported in 2018 that her stepmom sat on her where she couldn't breathe and whipped her for eating candy. Okay, I approached the stepmom. I made a call and I confronted her about the situation, and she told me she didn't want to talk about it and hung up. So I reported it to CPS and multiple different other parties, and they're gaslighting me and blaming me, and then covering up for blaming me for neglect when I didn't even have access to my daughter out of corruption. So my daughter has had a lot of psychological abuse because when she finally saw me years later, like almost 5 years, finally was able to see me, she had a meltdown when it was time to go. So then her stepmom said that she was giving her away to CPS, basically putting her out for crying 5 years plus that she hasn't seen her mom around 5 years. And we were close. We went fishing, swam together, and we were really close. So to rob her of her mother, someone that was close to her, went on her school events with her, went to go look at Christmas lights, that's traumatic. So my daughter's forced into this abuse for profit that CPS and the court and the police department is enforcing for profit.
Okay.
And then police and false arrests have assaulted me twice and arrested me trying to report abuse.
Okay. So what are you hoping that we can do for you?
Yeah, this is a pattern. This is a pattern for years, ma'am. What is your position?
I'm a hotline advocate.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're an advocate, what can you do?
So I can go over the services that we offer here at Hope Alliance. So the services that we offer here is we have a crisis shelter, we have our case managers, we have counseling services, and we have our legal advocate. Our legal advocate's just an advocate. They're not a lawyer, so they can't get any legal advice. And then really the only thing that they can do is help with any sort of paperwork, like filing for protective order, crime victims compensation, address confidentiality, those type of things.
Okay, so is there anyone on the planet that can give someone like advocate for them and make sure the police is doing and know the proper channels to report corruption and actually get something done to protect the woman? Does anyone do that?
So, like, I mean, if your issues with the police and them not taking you seriously, I would encourage you to reach out to like that law enforcement, like higher up, like.
Oh, I'm not being heard, ma'am, because I thought advocates did that. And since I've been in my crisis, none will, and they threaten security and are either full for 5 years plus. So now advocates don't call the police and see if they'll report and advocate for the woman to get her out the abuse. That no longer happens anywhere. So
we can't call like the police or anything on your behalf. We support our clients and can be there while they make police reports and call and talk to them, but we ourselves can't make any police reports on like a client's behalf.
I'm not saying police reports I'm not being heard. I'm saying make sure the police are not mistreating the woman and covering for crimes. Advocate for the party and make sure they're investigating the reports and give her the proper channels to report corruption and be a witness of the corruption if there is any.
So, I mean, we can if we witness it, but there's not much we can do if you're saying that it's something that happened in the past.
Okay, I'm confused.
So if you were working with law enforcement and a client here and you reported that there's been some sort of corruption going on, we can advocate on your behalf on making sure that that gets taken care of. But since you're saying that there's been some corruption going on, sounds like for a while now, there's not much we can do about things that happened in the past. If it were to happen now, we could, but there's not much we can do about stuff that happened in the past.
It is happening now. I still don't have access to my daughter in corruption, and I did mention that she was in an environment that was physically as well as emotionally abusive, and you have to do mandatory reporting. And there's a lot of people that were supposed to do mandatory reporting and didn't, which is criminal. CPS didn't do it, the police department didn't do it, and those are crimes that have been unaddressed. So I've called like probably 40 times now, CPS and other agencies, and nothing has been done. So I did report to you that she has been an abuse, and she gets punished whenever she tells me about the abuse that she experienced. And they have terminated my child custody rights out of malice. And this is the second child they committed crimes to keep me away from.
I'm sorry to hear all of that.
And what was your name?
My name is Michelle.
Okay.
Again, I'm sorry to hear that you feel that way.
I feel that way?
But there's not much that it sounds like that Hope Alliance would be able to do.
There's nothing that Hope Alliance will be able to do. Conspiracy to violate rights is a crime. And if the FBI ever does investigate, then these are charges. It's not just fun and games. So, I've been on the line a while with you. Let's see how long. 10 minutes, not as long as the other call. And after you heard that there's police corruption, what about your mandatory reporting?
So I'm mandated to report any abuse that hasn't already been reported. You disclosed.
No, it hasn't been reported.
So you disclosed that CPS has been involved a couple of times.
Yeah, but they didn't report. It hasn't been reported. They didn't do the mandatory reporting, like I said.
Right. So if a CPS worker has been involved, then there's been a report made.
No, it hasn't, ma'am. I've called. The CPS don't have any reports. I have the letter where they're stating that they don't have any. They haven't shown any reports. I don't know why every call, ma'am, they're trying to cover concealed crimes and help enforce my abuse. Hacking the phone is criminal. And are they defrauding people out of funds too? Spoofing calls when people don't know that it really can happen? Would they care then if your grandmother was getting defrauded out of funds in these schemes?
I can't speak on behalf of other organizations or anything like that.
I'm not sure. Why can't you help, ma'am?
So
if my abusers enlist in the police department?
It sounds like your needs are more than what we're able to assist with. So if you're worried about that there's been ongoing corruption within the police department, the most we could do would be to refer you to a lawyer so you could get some legal advice to know what your next steps are and how to navigate that. That's just not something that we specialize in here.
Well, it's not anything that a majority of people specialize in, but they don't leave the woman stuck in the abuse and deny her service, which is criminal. Conspiracy to violate rights.
Yeah. Honestly, well, I'm not denying you services here. It just sounds like the needs that you have are more than what we're able to assist with.
I think that the bottom line is you could talk about protection orders, ma'am. You can talk about what you can do instead of informing me what you can't do. Because I've had to endure that years. Let's talk about what you can do.
So I can, like I said, our services that we offer that emergency shelter if you feel like you have a need for that. And then we have our case managers, which they can help with applying for any benefits you might be eligible for, or helping you with your resume.
Okay, the emergency shelter, ma'am.
The emergency shelter?
Yes.
So right now our shelter is full and we're operating off of a wait list. I can do what we call our shelter screener with you, which is just me asking you some questions to get to know more about the situation. And then I turn that over to our shelter. They're able to bring you in.
It's not an accident, trust me. You don't experience this call for 5 years, and this is procedural. Someone is doing this, and I'm ready for all of the parties, conspirators, to get their charges. Okay, ma'am, whatever you have to do, ma'am, for me to get the services that you're willing for me to get, because I've had to endure this 5 years plus. And games, when I come in person, games, go work with the organization 2 or 3 months for them to barely do nothing, and then afterwards they threaten the police to enforce crimes or security. So, ma'am, yeah, whatever you're willing to do until people get their charges.
Okay. So those are the services that we offer. Are you interested in any of those?
Yes, whatever services you're willing to give me, I will take.
Okay. So for our shelter, like I said, we're full and operating off of that wait list. Are you interested in being placed on that wait list?
Sure.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you some questions. Some of them are a little repetitive, but I have to ask them to make sure we get the right information over to them, okay?
Okay.
Is there a history of domestic violence and sexual abuse?
Domestic violence?
Okay. And are you able to take care of your daily needs? Like, are you able to shower on your own, cook for yourself without any physical assistance?
Yes.
Okay. And have you ever stayed in Hope Alliance's shelter before?
No.
Okay. Are you currently staying in a shelter?
Can you not repeat the shelter's name? Because it's a homeless shelter, it's not a domestic violence location. I've been blacklisted from all help in domestic violence for 5 years plus procedurally.
Okay.
Now he's in Louisiana, which carries more charges for being in another state that police haven't been wanting to render to him or give to him.
Okay. And does the abuser know where you're at now?
He does. He stalks me through my devices and using other ways that I don't want to communicate because I don't think it's realistic.
Okay. And has there been any physical or sexual violence at all?
Yes, every time I talk about my abuser in jail, I was in Frank Crowley, Lou Sterrick jail. Each time I talked about my abuser, this one inmate would interrupt me and start arguing with me. Each time I talk about my false charges. So one time I was talking about my charges and I didn't let her deter me. So then she assaulted me. And then then the guards came to try to punish me when she assaulted me, and all the inmates said, "No, you got the wrong one." But they mistreat me like that. So since all the inmates were going crazy saying that she was the one that was assaulted, they had to put her in isolation. And then another time, 2 police officers assaulted me, and nothing was done. I fought and arrested me out of corruption. And when I met him, nothing. Never mind. Go ahead.
Was the last physical or sexual violence incident in the last 30 days?
No, not for the stalking and all of that is daily.
Okay.
And hacking my phone and the keeping me away from my child. Those are still crimes that have been unaddressed.
Okay.
And denied law enforcement from multiple different law enforcement agencies.
Okay. And is the abuser threatening to kill you, themselves, or any children?
I did get threats in the past. I don't want to communicate how I got them because I don't think it's realistic. And then, like, he'd have people call me and threaten me, threaten that they were going to drag me across the shelter, fight me, and then threaten that, if I keep talking, what would be done to me if I kept talking and trying to fight for my life. Threats in that manner. So, yeah.
And has the abuser ever used or threatened to use a weapon against you?
Not really.
Okay. And has the abuser ever prevented you from leaving or held you hostage before?
He commits financial crimes. I had food stamps stolen, identity theft, stolen child support payments, stolen Social Security payments. He's able to enlist people in his abuse that he shouldn't be able to. And I was systematically robbed from restaurants, hotels, and different places and couldn't do anything about it. Now I upload videos showing when I get defrauded out of funds, and it corrects the issue when I upload videos.
And have you left the abuser in the last 30 days?
I left the abuser in 2018. I ended the online relationship, and then the Tasca police lied and said I assaulted them and evaded arrest as punishment for me ending that online relationship. And I've been getting cover-up and mistreatment ever since 2018.
Okay. And have the police ever been caught on the abuser for any violence?
Yes, they all cover for him. In fact, just about everywhere I go, they cover for him, including domestic violence organizations and family members.
Okay. And has the abuser ever violated a protective order or restraining order?
No, they push and shove me or force me to leave trying to get protection orders, or just flat out deny it.
Okay. And it's just you seeking shelter, correct?
Right.
Okay. And how old are you to bring you into our shelter?
No. Don't you have organizations that get women? I am interested in relocating. Isn't that an organization that will take the woman to the safe location?
We don't have any resources like that to help people get to us. Sometimes Victim Services is able to assist with that, though, if you're working with law enforcement.
Okay, since you're not aware, I think, an organization called Freedom to Something. My help is always sabotage now. See, typically, it's domestic violence organization helps a woman flee for her life and don't help sabotage it.
Right.
So they would give Ubers or whatever's needed so that woman can be safe. But all of that has changed since I've been in my crisis. But there is some kind of organizations, Family to Freedom or something like that will help. But like I said, I haven't had help like other women can get. Mine is sabotaged if I don't already know about it.
I'm sorry to hear that. Like I said, we don't have any assistance to help, like, financially to get you here. So if we had availability, I'm just letting you know that you would have to find a way to get yourself here.
There's an organization that helps women fleeing for their life.
Yes, we're a crisis center for survivors of domestic violence or sexual abuse.
Right, and there's an organization that helps people with transit, women with transit that are fleeing for their life.
There are some organizations that help with that, but we just don't have any, like, financial assistance to help with that, to assist our clients directly.
Yeah, but it would be nice if you do the referral to let the party know that there's an organization that can help.
We don't have any connections with any of those organizations, so that's why I was saying if we have availability, you would be responsible for finding a way to get here.
Okay.
Okay. So that completes the shelter screener. I'll get this sent over to our shelter, and if they have availability, they'll give you a call. When they do call, it's going to show up as that unknown, no call ID, or restricted phone.
I've been through this years, ma'am. It's not going to happen until people get their charges. I'm just doing this, hoping that one day soon it will happen.
Understandable. Is there anything else I can help you with?
That'll be it.
Alrighty, well, you have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Can I help you?
Yes. You said this is Crisis Center?
Crisis Center, yes, ma'am. Yes, can I help you?
Where are you located?
We are in Sherman, Texas.
Okay. Yes, I have a domestic violence crisis that the police department has been involved in.
Okay.
I have multiple.
I'm sorry, are victim? Are you calling for an advocate? Are you with the police department?
No, I said I'm been involved in a
Okay.
domestic violence crisis that police have been involved in.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Did you want to speak to an advocate?
Yes.
Okay. And where are you located?
This is the safest that it'll get.
Okay. Just one moment.
Okay, thank you. Listening, please help me. Give the channel to other people. This is a woman fleeing a domestic violence crisis by a stalker that's just wealthy. Just because he's powerful and wealthy gives him no right to break all these laws year after year with no consequences. Please share the channel and report. Yes, I'm a person that has been in a domestic violence crisis that has involved multiple different police departments. Stalking.
Okay. Are you currently in danger and you're looking for a safe shelter?
I am looking for a safe environment.
Okay. Okay. And has there been any domestic violence or sexual assault?
I've been assaulted by police and multiple parties that I think he had set up. And when I ended the online relationship, police lied on me and said I assaulted them and evaded arrest. I get stalked through my devices, and there's crimes keeping me away from 2 children. One is adult now. One of them has became an adult, but people that I believe have been bribed to keep me away from my children out of malice. We were really close, so they really wanted to do something that they knew that would really hurt me, and that would be taking my kids away from me.
I understand. Can I have your, just in case we get disconnected, because it's happened today and I don't know why. Is it, do you want to give me your name and number? If we do, I can give you a call back. It's completely up to you. You don't have to.
I'm not quite sure where Sherman is. Okay.
So, we only confirm eligibility to be in the shelter if you're in person. And we do what's called an intake. So what an intake looks like is you'll come in, we'll give you some paperwork, you just fill it out, we'll have a brief little
Is this a domestic violence location, or is this another kind of location?
This is strictly domestic violence and sexual assault.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And you only help the party in person. You can't help them over the phone.
That is correct. We do not confirm eligibility over the phone because we do help people in person. So if someone else, it'd be like if we say, okay, yeah, sure, there's eligibility here, right? And then someone else comes in before you, and we have to give that bed to them. It's just not appropriate for us to do that. So we don't confirm eligibility until we see that person in person. Then we meet with them, and we're sure that we're a good fit for you and you're a good fit for us. Then that's when we confirm eligibility.
Okay, so this is a domestic violence crisis organization helping women flee for their life. You have to come in person to see if you're eligible to get services, to flee for your life.
To confirm eligibility, yes, ma'am, you do. You have to come in person. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is there anything that we can get addressed? I don't know a lot about you. I keep on getting these referrals, and there's catch-22s why I can't get service. Because typically the organizations get your information, and they get you a way to get there. And then it's prearranged before you waste all your time driving, especially all the way out to Sherman, and then get turned away.
Well, I just asked you if you were a victim of domestic violence, which you said yes to. So unless you are not a victim of domestic violence, I believe you do meet the eligibility from what you had stated, but I cannot confirm that until we meet with you in person.
Okay. Okay, do you have any referrals of any, it's just been a game, ma'am. I've been all the way in Texarkana, and it's just my life as it is right now.
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, I've been...
Well, our services, just so you know, our service is provided.
It's hard for me. Is this a crisis hotline?
Do what now?
Is this a crisis hotline?
This is a crisis hotline. Yes,
okay, is this where I tell you my experience?
We can't provide shelter,
Is this where I tell you my experience?
I'm so sorry, ma'am. I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay. So this is just my life for a long time that I just don't have I don't have the rights that typical women have fleeing for their life. My situation is a little different. I have someone interrupting our help on the phone in person with family.
Yes, ma'am. So the service we provide is giving someone shelter. I cannot provide shelter over the phone. I mean, it literally requires you to come in. I'm not sure what kind of services you want us to provide.
What do you do? Protection orders? Do you have legal?
We do for non-resident. Yes, ma'am. We offer those by a non-resident service. So when I asked you if you were looking for a safe shelter, ma'am, you said yes, ma'am. So I was responding to you based on that comment. If you want help with non-resident matters, I can transfer you to someone else. But I'm speaking from the shelter right now. So I'm sorry for the confusion, but I do want to help you.
Yeah, ma'am, this has went on a long time. I'm trying to fight the tears back. I just don't understand why I'm still being treated like this 5 years plus with a YouTube channel exposing it. For those parties listening, I do have value.
You do have value, and you deserve everything. Every person does. I just need to know how I can help you with what I've told you that I can offer you.
Well, from my experience, the way that you can help me is be to advocate for me and tell me how you can help me. That would be one thing, because I haven't had that.
So right now, that's what I was trying to explain. You're speaking to the shelter. So what I do is I provide services to the women that are in the shelter.
Well, I don't think that it'll be a good fit, ma'am.
Because in the shelter,
it's not going to be a good fit if I have to come all the way there to find out if you have shelter. I want to get my shelter set up before I get there, because coming all the way out there and then you inform me if you have shelter when I get there would not be a good fit, because my life isn't normal, ma'am. By that time, someone will make them force that I don't get the help. So I want to make sure it's
prearranged. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to transfer you to someone that I feel that would be able to better assist you in what you're saying your needs are. And I'm not saying that I can't that can be offered to you. I'm saying that I cannot offer that to you. So let me transfer you to someone that would be able to assist you in the element that you're requiring. Okay?
Okay.
At the Grayson Crisis Center, we are unable to take your call at this time. Please leave your name, number, and brief message, and we will return your call as soon as possible. Please leave a message after the tone. What is the location you're calling about?
Yes, I called yesterday trying to do a report on my stalker. I'm trying to compile evidence that the police department has been committing crimes to protect them, and I haven't received a call back. They, when I reported the stalking, they didn't sign it to an investigator. They did a miscellaneous report to cover for it, and I'm trying to help people get the charges that they've earned years but have not received. So I'm trying to compile evidence that the police department is deliberately covering for this man, which is a felony crime. So I'm just trying to see why you guys haven't, in the report, it wasn't assigned to an investigator, the stalking. And then in addition to that, when I tried to report it the second time, why I have not received a call back? Why is the police department covering for this man? Risking felonies?
So as soon as they're available, then they're going to be giving you a call.
Okay, so reporting that, normally they call me back the same day. But reporting the stalking, there's a different procedure and it takes longer? Is that what's going on?
I'm not sure. I'm not an officer. They're being dispatched as they're available.
Okay, I'm just trying to show a pattern of the police department could reckon up felonies covering for this man. So I'm just trying. I wanted to reiterate that yesterday they told me that they did not do an investigation for the stalking, which is a felony charge. And then in addition to that, I'm still holding to report the stalker, as I've been holding 5 years plus. So I'm just trying to do my part so these crimes are exposed so people can finally get the consequences and the charges that they've earned. Okay, ma'am.
Well, as soon as you're next in their queue, then they're going to give you a call.
I'm sorry?
As soon as you're next in their phone queue, then they're going to give you a call.
Okay, and what's your name?
We go by operator numbers. Mine is N, like Nora 174.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So there has to be something else. I mean, just venting, which I don't need to do, but this hamster wheel is enforced, and just maybe it's just so much. So I guess I'm having to work it out on my own, not getting the advocacy from experienced people. I don't know what to do. So I guess I just have to keep compiling the evidence, knowing that these people are deliberately doing what they're doing to keep me from services and help.
Which part?
What you just said. I just stepped out of the shower. I didn't get what you just said.
Okay, I'm a CPS investigation supervisor in Tarrant County, and the worker working the front desk said that you had called and you wanted to speak with the supervisor about an incident that had occurred.
Right. Did she give you the information so you have it up in your system, my name and information?
She gave me your name and your phone number.
Okay, can you pull up the information that you have? Because I've been calling a CPS worker and haven't had my calls returned.
Do you have a case number, or
no.
Is this an APS case or a CPS case?
Is it possible that you can take my name and pull it up? Is that possible?
I can, but okay. I'm not sure exactly what you would be referring to.
Can you try? What's your name again?
My name is Brittany Westmoreland. Does this case involve you?
Yes.
In what way? In what role? Like, are you
the parent? Yes, I'm the parent.
Okay.
I'm the reporter.
Right, hold on. You're the reporter?
Well, the hospital reported it because I wasn't able to. So they have a duty to report. Once someone informs them of abuse, it's a crime for certain positions to not report abuse. And they had a duty to report, so supposedly they reported it at the hospital. But I'm the parent.
Okay. Hold on just a second. I'm sorry. Hush. I apologize. I'm working from home today due to being sick, and the dog is barking at the mailman.
Okay.
Okay. Open.
It could be closed, but I mean they close all the cases. But I wanted to speak with the caseworker. What they do is they close the case to tamper with evidence and deny investigation to conceal crimes, so people don't get the felony charges they've racked up. So I'm trying to incriminate each party that chose to close the case to cover for these, make themselves conspirators in other crimes.
Okay, let me see. What is the date range that I'm looking for?
It should have been in July.
And what had occurred?
You have it in your system?
Okay, I'm not going to disclose any information because you don't have an open case. So if you want to get a copy of your record, you can go through Records Management Group.
Okay, so I have been calling a CPS worker. They put a supervisor on the phone, and you're concealing crimes and don't want to give me a name. To cover for the person that tampered with evidence and denied investigation and closed it to make herself conspirator. So you're covering for that person. I don't know. I can't remember the worker. If I gave you my personal information and I called the location, why are you concealing that information?
I'm not concealing the information. There's a lot of information, and I'm looking for specifically what it is you're wanting me to look for.
If this is CPS, there's crimes that were committed to keep me away from my child that should be in the report, and I'm trying to incriminate all the parties that I can, because covering for powerful people so they don't get their felonies makes you a conspirator. So if the worker closed the case to cover up for those crimes, James Hastings that disappeared, he said he was going to terminate my child custody rights, then follow procedure, and the court let him disappear, and the teacher that lied on me. So all these conspirators putting their part in for cover up, they're still felonies and conspirators. So you don't want to give me the caseworker's name because you don't want to implicate her. That makes you a conspirator too.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You just said you saw a case, and I gave you my personal information.
But you just told me you didn't know the caseworker's name.
I can't remember it now, but I gave you my personal information. And for years, everywhere I call, have been trying to conceal and cover for crimes. You're supposed to be a supervisor. If I'm the parent, why would you not want me to know? Like they haven't for years. And why did she hang up in my face trying to make sure she didn't have to say anything earlier? And my phone malfunctioned? I don't know. Who gave you the information to call?
I received a call that you called the front office of the CPS office.
That's correct.
And you wanted to speak with the supervisor.
Who gave you that message?
The worker that's working the front desk.
That's the worker that hung up in my face.
She's not a worker. She's an admin. She's an administrative assistant. So I think what would be best is for me to give you the number to the Records Management Group.
I've already called the records. I don't get my records. I did it online multiple times. I've tried to get my records. They won't send it to me, nor the police. I have went through all those hoops. I'm sorry?
Would you like the phone number to the Records
I've requested my records multiple times. They've never sent them. Ma'am, you're interrupting. I'm trying to tell you my experience.
You are interrupting me. I'm trying to help you.
This is how it is.
But I don't know what
it's prearranged. It's for psychological abuse and cover up.
Do you want the number to the Records Management Group, or would you like the number to the office?
Ma'am, I'm trying to tell you my experiences so we can go from there. If you let me communicate what I've experienced. Out of all the CPS investigations, they've never sent me anything in response to the conclusions of all the investigations, and then they all disappeared. I'm telling you that people have racked up felonies, and you're being rude, as you guys have been years, calling the police to enforce crimes when I come in person, giving me criminal trespasses. So, ma'am, I have already asked for records, and they won't give me my records or the conclusion after these counterfeit investigations. I think that violating my family 5+ years has been enough.
I'm trying to help you. I'm not trying to come off rude at all, and I'm sorry that you feel that I'm being that way. I'm not. I'm just trying to understand how I can help you.
I've informed you, ma'am, and you won't give me any information on the case. You won't give me the caseworker after you got my personal information. You won't give me direction on what happened, and they won't send letters. Or were they supposed to give me a letter that hasn't been sent? They won't give me my records when I make requests. I've made it multiple times.
Okay, right now, you do not have an open case, so there is no caseworker's information for me to give you.
Ma'am, I don't understand. If I told you my experience, why you would be rude. First, I want to establish the fact that you're Child Protective Services, and you help families. And the way that you're speaking to me is not appropriate for your position. So let's make sure that we're understanding that you don't need to be psychologically abusive when your caseworker did not call me back, and I told you that I'm not getting my records. Out of all the corruption I told you about, you should not be rude. You should be amazed and disturbed by what my experience, not conspiring with it.
Ms. Clark, I'm not being rude. I'm trying to explain to you the only information that I can give you, because you do not have an open case that I can see right now. I can only give you the number to the Records Management
Yes, I
Group.
want to know who did that, because that person closing, all these people that keep closing the case to conceal crimes are conspirators. So you're unwilling to tell me who the case was with?
I can give you the number to the Office of Consumer Affairs.
It's a yes or no question, ma'am. It's a yes or no question. You're unwilling to give me the caseworker's name? Because they did in the past.
Would you like the number to Records Management Group or the Office of Consumer Affairs to file a complaint?
Okay, so I just want to make sure that I hear you correctly. You're unwilling to let me know who that caseworker was to implicate her as a conspirator in crimes. You're
Yes,
covering for
because
her.
I don't know which case you're referring to, so
The
I
most
can't
recent
give
one
you.
in July. The most recent one you have.
A little while to look through all these to see which one is the one from July. Would you like me to look and call you
I
back?
would. I'm asking for the caseworker that was in July. I can't remember her name, and she has not returned multiple different calls. And these people that keep on closing these cases out of corruption are conspirators, and they need their charges.
Okay. And confirm with me your first and last name.
What
See what I can
what
find,
is
and
it?
I'll call you back.
What is the time frame that I should expect your return call?
24 hours.
24 hours. So tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.